What planet does she come from? Meghan Markle's lie about her Nigerian roots once again beats all of our understanding. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the King YouTube channel. Last weekend, Harry proved that he is the best parrot ever when he repeated Meghan's claims about having 43% Nigerian DNA at the Invictus Games, which came after her own statement about this very fact, well, supposed fact, during her Archetypes podcast, leading me to check out her maternal DNA a little bit. So I found that the Raglan side of the family dates back 9 generations in the US, and there's a wide variety of Black American and also some other unspecified races included. Okay, so that would constitute 9 generations of biracial American DNA. So that means that Meghan is claiming that 93% of her mother's ancestry originates from Nigeria. That would have to be basically all of her mother's ancestors. Now, many of them came from different states in the US, not simply one state, so it seems like all the Black ancestors from her mother's side, from all the dozens of branches of ancestry, would have to be from Nigeria. That is the only way this DNA sequence that Meghan is claiming would make any sense. Now, Meghan claims to be so highly educated. Does she even realize that we only inherit 50% of the DNA from each parent? It doesn't matter who we resemble more. So with 50% of her DNA coming from her father, Thomas Markle, who is of 100% white European ancestry, it is pretty amazing that over a 9-generation period of so many ancestors in her mother's family tree, somehow, miraculously, only 7% of Doria's DNA is not Nigerian. And that's especially remarkable when you think about the fact that an average Nigerian citizen has an average percentage of less than 40% Nigerian DNA thanks to the large population of introduced races over the centuries, especially from the Emirates. And that's all because of a very long and tragic history of slave trafficking, which of course the British colonial government was responsible for getting rid of. Wow, isn't it fascinating then that Meghan's mother, being 9th generation American, is somehow 93% Nigerian? Okay, all you sugars, all you defenders of Meghan and Harry's lies, please take a look into Doria Raglan's 100% DNA family tree displayed and do your own math. Luckily, there's an expert who's weighed in on this too, Dr. Gates. And Dr. Gates explains that Doria would have to be 86% Nigerian for Meghan to be 43% Nigerian. A mulatto grandfather would make her 12.5% white, so Doria cannot be more than 87.5% Nigerian, which basically means sub-Saharan African. As we've already mentioned, it's impossible for her to even be Nigerian on this DNA test. Now, since the average African American has about 25% undocumented white genetic ancestry, Meghan's claim of being 43% Nigerian is highly unlikely. And somebody said, I've only taken second-year genetics at USC years ago, but Thomas Markle's 50% donation was not as vetted out as Doria's. He may be Nigerian too in order to get Meghan's math to add up. Both parents' DNA have to be accounted for, and then only possibilities can be discussed as each fertilized egg is a roll of the dice, each different time the egg and sperm come together. So, if Thomas is Nigerian too, and depending on his percentages, we could maybe make Meghan's math work. But why would anybody spend so much time making something work that is basically impossible? The fact is, it's just that Doria's DNA was shown with more detail and Thomas's wasn't. We would need details to know for sure in order to do any real math. And I agree, it's very unlikely that Thomas has any Nigerian in him. But it is true that every fertilized egg is a new dice throw for its genetic content. If somebody were to try to do an in-depth DNA study on Meghan's parents, well, they could do that, but what a waste of money. It's a lot easier to consider what she says and understand it's probably a very slim possibility to be the truth. And then, of course, we have to think about what is Meghan's reputation when it comes to telling the truth. Oh, well, at that point, it's safe to assume that Meghan Markle is lying. I know it may seem crazy. I know it may be difficult to face, but it seems like Meghan might be lying. And I'm curious, since she has announced that she's Nigerian, I wonder if she's done any more research whatsoever, because she did claim that she wanted to dig deeper into her heritage. It's not like she's got a job she's got to go to every day. She's got plenty of time on her hands, I would think. And speaking of Meghan's origins, let's talk about her father Thomas a little bit. He was interviewed on British TV, and he didn't beg, but he did express an honest desire to meet the invisible children before he passes away. Now, he's already in his 80s, he's had a stroke, and he still suffers from some complications from that stroke. It's all incredibly sad. But Meghan Markle is a psychopathic narcissist, so she only cares about herself. It is really sad that Thomas cannot see what a horrible creature his daughter really is. Meghan acts like she does all this charity work, but there is no charity in her heart for her own family or Harry's family for that matter. Seems like she forgot all about that saying, charity begins at home. Alright, so now back to the main topic of this video. Let's be honest, you guys, Meghan is a heartless witch. She portrays herself as this wonderful humanitarian, going to Africa, hugging and kissing a bunch of babies, going to all kinds of different venues, showing how remarkable she is, and how she just loves everybody. But not only that, everybody loves her. But then, behind the scenes, she lets it be clear who she really is. She's a horrible, horrible woman, and once she found fame and fortune, she was done with her entire family. Most people only ever have one mother and one father. Her father was always good to her. Her father raised her right, or he tried to at least. But Meghan got it in her head that she was destined for greatness in Hollywood, and so she turned so bitter and so nasty just because her father tried to sell a few pictures. And I'm not saying that was the right thing to do. I mean, he was wrong to do that, but still, he's tried to make it up to her. He's older now, he's not in good health, and he really just wants to see his daughter and also the grandkids if they're real. And Harry's really no better because he basically did the same thing to his father. And we know how Harry was raised. Harry was raised to be a good, decent person. He was loved, he was taken care of, he was supported, and he threw his family under the bus the first chance he got. I know Thomas Markle made some mistakes, but he's still a human being. He's got feelings. And he should be able to live in peace in his last years, especially since he's been sick. I mean, I know he wants to see his daughter. I know that he wants to see his grandkids if there are any. Wouldn't it be amazing if her alleged children grew up and did the same thing to her and Harry? That's exactly what they'd deserve. And I do not think that Thomas Markle is out of line just wanting to see his daughter, meet his son-in-law, and also meet his grandchildren, again, if there are any. He has done everything he can to try to reconcile with Meghan. In his last interview, he even said directly into the camera, "What do I have to do to make this right?" I don't think that he's a vengeful person. I think that he's just a normal person who wants to see his family. And I'm guessing, since he's not in good health right now, he'd rather it be sooner than later. Family values. Oh yeah, Meghan, you really care about family values. How can she be so cruel to the father who loved her and supported her throughout her entire life? I cannot understand how somebody can be that cold. Is it just because Meghan is really so embarrassed by her family and because she's told so many lies, she doesn't want to have to face them because they know the truth? I don't think that Thomas is ever going to see her again. I gotta be honest with you on that. I think there are too many bridges that have been burned, and I think Meghan is too much of a narcissist. How is Meghan going to feel when her father passes away without her ever having made peace with him? Is she going to feel any shame? Probably not. How dare she deny him seeing his grandchildren forever, again, assuming they're even real? How can she continue with all this weirdness surrounding the invisible children anyway? Meghan Markle does not care about family values. The only thing she understands is how to seek and destroy. I mean, just look at what she did to the Invictus Games. My goodness, everything Meghan touches turns to dust. And it's sad because Meghan Markle, if she wanted to, she really could do some good for the world. But she's no humanitarian. She just cares about herself and cares about destroying people who she believes have wronged her. And what about you? Do you agree with me? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments. If you think my video is helpful, don't be afraid to like and share it with anyone else who would enjoy it. And please don't forget to subscribe to our The King YouTube channel to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely evening, and we'll be back to see you tomorrow. Bye. I love you all.